Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Personality Typing Practice. If you haven't been here, or haven't watched any of my previous videos series, this is me practicing how to type famous people using C.S. Joseph's system on Jungian typology. So I'm gonna link his channel and his website down in the description, so you guys can check him out. You guys can get an idea of what I'm using. But yeah, I'm just using his system to practice typing famous people, and I'm trying to get better. And hopefully, the more I fail, the more I'll learn, and then the more I'll be able to type people accurately. So going to be typing people, and then I'm gonna check to see what he got and how he typed them, and then I'm gonna see if I was accurate or not. So I'm using him as a cross reference to see if um, what I'm typed the famous person as is accurate. Alright, so today we're gonna do Kathleen and Hanna.
Hi. It's so fucking hot in here, right? I just went out in the hallway. If you need a break, I won't be offended.
Do you want to?
She seems initiative right off the bat, and she cussed right away, so I'm gonna put a point down for pragmatic.
Do you want to go back out there?
No, I'm just saying that if you need like a
Oh, if somebody else
vacation,
leaves.
if anybody needs a vacation, just right in the hallway.
So it's as hot out there as it is under these heat, like in that situation.
You know, it's pretty hot, especially because a lot of our outfits were polyester, which we didn't think about
Yeah.
beforehand. Later we did. I remember Joe had this.
Which we didn't think about. That's a spear and bow statement.
My bandmate had this zip-up polyester jacket she wore every night, and it was just like pit.
So they didn't have, like now, they have those materials that are great for any kind of weather.
Like
you know?
Uniqlo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Too late for that. Missed that.
How about a reunion tour? Just
She interrupted. I'm gonna put him up for initiative.
for the weather resistant
Sponsored
outfits.
by Uniqlo.
Yeah. So I have a serious question that I'd like to start with, and I need to quote my little arts, my work.
Wow.
That's a good fucking question.
It's so fucking long. It's really funny.
Here's the question shorter. You wrote an introduction to Karen Finley's book. How did
I'm
she
just going to
inspire
talk
you?
about what I want to talk about.
That's fine. That's fine.
Ignore
I'm
that.
just gonna talk about what I want to talk about. That is fire and wind, and it's pragmatic.
Question.
I'm gonna put these over
Just put
here.
those over there.
Yeah.
I
Shit, I
actually
need
met one of my favorite writers, Kathy Acker, the
Yeah.
week before I saw
Oh,
her.
that was also. I don't know if I put a point down for fire and wind. I think I did.
Finley perform. And I was in a workshop with her, a writer's workshop, and she told me that I shouldn't do spoken word because it sucked. And nobody.
'Cause your
I'm
spoken
sorry if anybody does spoken word.
Okay, so
Pragmatic.
the genre in general, not
Yeah,
your
she was just
spoken
like, it sucks. Nobody wants to watch that. And she told me that I should start a band and in Seattle. And I went back. I didn't know who the fuck Karen Finley was, but I went back the next week after I read with Kathy Acker just to try to get recognized. Like, I went to the same club a week later. Like, I got on the bus from Olympia and went an hour away, hoping that I'd be sitting in the audience and somebody'd be like, you were that girl who opened for Kathy Acker last week. Like, I thought I was a really big celebrity.
Oh, that's spear and bow. Celebrity, status, notoriety.
And then she blew my fucking mind. Like, she was just like, but yeah, she, put chocolate on herself and talked about incest and rape and made jokes about it. And I don't know, I just felt like I want to do that. I want to be
I just felt like I want to do that. That's fine. When she was doing that, I wanted to do it too. That's also really pragmatic kind of jokes.
and more than being in a band, like, I always kind of considered myself, until kind of now maybe, I always thought what I was doing was feminist performance art. Like, when I was in a band, I always thought I was like playing this role of like a feminist in a band. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So why did that change?
Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I always felt this, spear and bow.
She said until now.
I got really into music. Like, I got really into making music and thinking about song structure and some kind of formal ideas about music. I think it was both, but I mean, everybody puts a lot of pressure on themselves, like more than anybody else, any outside person does, and I really did start.
Everybody puts a lot of pressure on themselves. It's Fire and Wind. SE. She's definitely a wayfarer. And I think she's initiative. Let's look for her interaction style.
My career as a musician, thinking about what was missing. You know, and there was so much missing that it was really easy to write songs. I was like, wow, this is like a great shtick. No one else is. I mean, other people. There were other women in bands and stuff, other feminists in bands, but it wasn't as like didactic as I was laying it out in Bikini Kill.
That's very systematic. And talking about other people, it's more Fire and Wind.
My lyrics, and I felt like that was something missing that I wanted to see. And when I look back, I realized that a lot of times I've written stuff for my younger self, and then caught up, or sometimes caught up to it, like written stuff that I didn't know why I was writing it, and then I realized that I was telling myself this advice that I needed to take.
So you said in that foreword to the Karen Finley book, you said something.
You really liked that book.
Initiated, just interrupted. All right, so ENTJ or ESFP.
I can't get over that.
Well, I mean, I can ask about forewords to other books you've written. You wrote the foreword to The Great Gatsby, and you wrote about. But you said in 19.
I'll look at a different interview.
Because sometimes you're going to have to warm your voice up in a broken meat locker in the basement of the club. So can't have humidifier.
That was abstract. Sometimes you're gonna have to warm your voice up in a meat locker.
It's a lot better now. And there's a lot more women at shows and just a lot more diversity at shows in general. And for that, I'm just totally thankful. And I feel really glad that I was a teeny tiny weeny whiny part of it. But I'm really amazed that some people don't even know that in the 90s it was as bad as it was. And I personally was shocked that it was as bad as it was.
I mean, we're not talking the 60s, we're talking the 90s.
Yeah.
Some people don't even know Spear and Bow. Damn.
Throw things at you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we had like chains thrown at our heads. I got pulled off the stage by my ankles once. We had our roadie was assaulted while we were playing. She got in the way to defend me. A guy was trying to grab me and she was knocked out.
She seems pretty direct. This happened, this happened, this happened. Not really a story.
Kinds of things, like really riots at shows.
Who were your supporters at that time? Because it wasn't like the 70s. There wasn't like a whole movement that at least was visible on the national scene. What was the context that enabled you to keep going?
Also in this, she seems pretty responsive.
Well, I mean, we were really lucky because the homocore scene had kind of started, which was like a loosely affiliated network of people who are writing these like queer zines. Like people now call it the queer zine explosion, or there's a lot of different names for it. And so like people like GB Jones, her band Fifth Column, and a lot of the movies that she made, The Troublemakers and the Yo-Yo Gang, and like our friend Donna Drush, who was in...
People call it this, name dropping, Spear and Bow, Fire and Wind. Wayfarer, Wayfarer, Wayfarer. Pragmatic.
A bunch of different bands. Like there were a lot of women, Lori Tversky, who wrote Bitch magazine. There's a Bitch now, but there was a Bitch back then from California that was this amazing newsprint zine that was all women in music. And it had a definite political edge, but it was like really infused with the writing, and it was great writing, like more like an Ellen Willis type writer.
All right, well, I think she's systematic because I haven't heard her talk about anything interest-based, like what she's getting out of it or what other people are getting out of it. So if that's the case, then she would be an ENTJ, but I just want to make sure to check against INTJ. Just to make sure. I think interaction styles are my biggest flaw and the hardest thing for me to figure out, so.
Big fake eyelashes right now. But I think coming out and saying, hey, you know, like, we're radical feminists or whatever, it kind of opens you up to all this crap, because people not only focus on your gender no matter what you say, but then it's like, well, you're a hypocrite because you wear makeup and that means you're not a feminist,
Right.
or you
wore
do
a
this,
dress
or
once, and I'm
yeah.
gonna hold that over your head.
I feel like a huge part of like talking about feminism in the context of pop culture is just explaining what it is, you know, or I mean.
Yeah, I think she's an ENTJ. Direct initiating control. Alright, so I'm gonna check now. Alright, so she was actually an ENTP. Which I think one of my biggest, like, I have like a roommate too. I also confuse them between ENTP and ENTJ, so I still haven't EN-typed him, so I'm practicing this, but she was not an ENTJ. She was an ENTP. I completely messed up her cognitive functions there. The thing is, she didn't seem like a crusader. She just didn't have those statements. So I think I might have to disagree with Chase in this one. I just don't think she was an ENTP based on what I saw. I'm gonna stick with ENTJ, because there was so much overwhelming dialogue that I got. But Chase typed her as ENTP. I mean, she could be ENTP. I might like come back to this and verify later. But again, thank you guys for watching. Check out CS Joseph's channel. I'll link it in the description, and I'll link his website in the description too. Yeah, check him out. Yeah, I got nothing else to say. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.